Alright, hey guys. This is my second time recording this video because first time my mic didn't work. So, yeah, I've got a new deck here with featuring new cards from the Ultra Prism set that's releasing Friday officially. I'm gonna try to make a bunch of decks with new cards, featuring new cards, built around the new cards, just showcase what some new cards are capable of, what I think they'll do, and how good I think some of them will be. So right now, I have the Garchomp Lucario deck made. It's a deck I've wanted to make ever since I saw the two cards and how they interacted with each other. And I think it's just a really solid deck, honestly. Like, as niche and auto-build as it seems, I think it's a really good one and it has a chance of probably being really top tier. Basically, what goes down is Lucario has an ability where it can search your deck for any card as long as you have a Garchomp in play. And Garchomp has an attack where so long as you played a Cynthia, this attack does 100 more damage with a base power of 100, totaling a power of 200 damage for DC in a fighting if you played a Cynthia this turn. Then you play 4 Cynthias, and then after you've played your Cynthias, you palpad them back into your deck and you search them with Lucario. It's just kind of like a vicious cycle of Cynthiaing, constantly having 6 cards in your hand and hitting for 200 every turn. Basically the gist of this deck. The lines I run is I run 2 of the new Gible with the Ascension ability from the Ultra Prism set. I run 2 of the Breakpoint Gible with some attack that you'll probably never use, and 60 HP, but Fighting Gible is a very important part. The only reason I run it is because it's a fighting type. 60 HP is nice, but the fighting type is extremely good. I run 2 Gabbits from the new set with the Ascension ability, which allows you to search your deck for a Pokemon evolves from it. And then 3 of the new Garchomps that have the attack of DC or 50 to something, or a DC and a fighting for 100 plus 100 if you played Cynthia. I also tech in 1 Garchomp from Breakpoint with the Turbo Assault ability and the Bite Off attack, or Turbo Assault attack and the Bite Off attack, with the Turbo Assault attack being a fighting for 60, and you can attach an energy card to something, any energy card to anything on your side of the field. Or for 2 fightings, it does 80 damage, and then an extra 80 if it's a Pokemon EX. So it's a really good tech card, and it just slides right in on this deck with giving it some ramp ability or even just some comeback mechanism. Words. I run 3 Riolus, 3 Lucarios. I think 4/4 is a bit much, and 4 Riolus is a bit much. You really kind of want to start with Gabbit, or a Gible, sorry. Riolu has the attack where you flip a coin for a colorless, and if heads, it's immune to damage. Detect, I believe it's called. Detect? Yeah, Detect. And has Jab for fighting, just does 10 damage, typical fighting attack. Lucario has Jab for a colorless and a DC, where it does 70 damage, and the attack's damage isn't affected by resistance. That's not why you run it. You run it for that ability I told you about, that insane computer search ability you just get for free. No drawbacks whatsoever. Has 110 HP, so it's not the most tanky thing in the world, but computer search, pretty worth it. I run a 1/1 line of Rock or Lycanroc, just because every turn you're going to want a Cynthia. When you Cynthia, you hit a lot of damage. You're not going to be Cynthiaing and Guzmaing because you're not allowed to. That's cheating. So I run Lycanroc just as a little substitute for that Guzma, so I can computer search up, or I can Lucario up a Lycanroc into my hand, evolve it, pull something, play Cynthia, and then be on my merry way. It's basically like playing 2 supporters in 1 turn. Also, Lycanroc's a really strong attacker, 110 for a colorless, or 2 colorless and a fighting, or a GX attack. That is the only GX attack you'll ever use in this deck. And it's actually one of the best GX attacks in the game right now, so, it's pretty strong in this deck, I would say. 2 Tapu Leles just because Leles are good, Leles are staple. You need Leles, everyone needs Leles, come on, they're Leles. I run 3 choice bands just because choice bands are broken. A really strong card. 1 escape board, which is another new card from the newest set. That basically the Pokemon it's attached to has 1 less, or retreat costs 1 less, and it can retreat when it's asleep and paralyzed. Asleep and paralysis isn't too prominent right now, but if it hits you, it'll actually slow the deck down like nothing else. You only run 1 Guzma. It's the only other option for retreating, right? So if you're asleep or you're paralyzed, you're not going to retreat. This thing lets you retreat. And everything in the deck has 1 or 0 retreat cost. In this case, 0 being Garchomp, because Garchomp is sick. Skateboard, generally just a really good card. Even on Lycanroc, has a 2 retreat cost. You pay 1 fighting to retreat it. It's not even that bad. It's not like you sacking a DC like you normally would. Only run 1, because Garchomp is free retreat anyways, so it's not like it's going to be the worst thing in the world. Even paying 1 energy to retreat, not the worst thing in the world. 4 Puzzles of Time, because Puzzles of Time are nuts cards, and when you have 3 Pokemon on your bench that are computer searches, Puzzles of Time is an even more nuts card. In general, it's just a pretty nuts deck. 4 Ultra Balls, staple cards, every deck, 4 Ultra Balls, obviously. You're basically playing a 56 card deck with 4 Ultra Balls. 3 Rare Candies, not 4, only 3, because of the Ascension ability. Ascension, a lot of the time, if you use it turn 1, turn 2, or just later on, it will just kind of nullify a Rare Candy turn, saving them for future turns, There's no discarding, really, other than Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball's the only card that will discard anything from your deck. Don't run any Sycamores, don't run anything else, like Zoroark or anything, so the only way you're discarding is with Ultra Ball. So 3 Rare Candies is pretty safe if you're constantly shuffling your hand. Excuse me. I run 2 Palpads. Palpads is another new card. It's not really a new card, it's a reprinted card from the Flashfire set. It basically shuffles 2 supporter cards from your discard pile into your deck. It's pretty nutso in this deck, because you just shuffle the Cynthias you've already used and pull them back out with Lucario. It's so good. Staple probably in for the next rotation. I'll probably run 1 or 2 at least in each deck. Now remember how I said how important that Gible was? Brooklet Hill is equally as important, because it searches your deck for a basic fighting type and puts it on the bench. So it searches your deck for a Gible and puts it on the bench, assuming you haven't prized both Gibles. And if it doesn't pull a Gible, it'll pull a Riolu, or it'll pull a Rockruff. It'll pull anything good. So it's just honestly super good in this deck. I really like it. When the Gible is reprinted as a fighting type with the Ascension ability, obviously I'll just run those ones, because fighting is nuts. Run 1 Stretcher, 1 Field Blower, both 2 super good cards. Every deck needs probably one of them. Maybe not even the Stretcher in some decks, but Field Blower, Rescue Stretcher, really good cards. Supporter line is a little different from most supporters I've seen, where I run 4 Cynthia, 2 Ends, a Lily, and a Guzma. So it's a really small supporter list, a lot of items and Pokemon. That's basically because Lucario is your draw supporter. He is your draw support. Most of the time you draw support, or you play a Sycamore or something in search of like 2 cards or something. So why you do that when you can just search them out, like with Lucario? So you don't really need as much draw support as you would in most decks. Especially with the amount of cycle with the Palpads and the Puzzles of Time you have. Draw support is not as needed. Draw supporters aren't as needed. For the energy, I run 4 DC and 7 fighting energy, basic fighting energy. No strong energy, because most of the time you're attaching to Garchomp, and Garchomp's a dragon, not a fighting type. So it's not as important. That's the deck. Here are some of all the new cards, actually, from Ultra Prism that I'm using. Only 8, but all 8 have a huge impact on the deck. Without any of these cards, the deck wouldn't work. So, shout out to these cards, I guess. Riolu, Lucario, Garchomp, Gabite, Gible, Cynthia, Palpad, and a Skateboard. So that's the deck. That's how it works. I've played a lot with this deck, and once you get a Garchomp and a Lucario out, you just win. There's almost nothing people can do to stop it. They can target your Lucarios. A lot of time you just have more than one on the bench. You Lucario for a Riolu. Or if you have two Riolus, you play a Lucario, and you Lucario for another Lucario, and then you Lucario for like a Garchomp or a DC or whatever you need, and you have two. Kill one, you still have one regardless. The card's just insane. Super Strong will be a really good deck, I think. A deck to be feared, I believe. Come the next set. Next set legality, I guess. Next rotation? Not really rotation, I don't know. When the set's legal. Cynthia, staple in most cards, most decks. Probably almost every deck. Just shuffle, draw 6. Super not so card. $100 full art. Can't wait to buy those. I love buying $100 cards. But yeah. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate any feedback I get. You know, just leave something in the comments. It really helps out. If you have any suggestions, I'm gonna try to make a deck every day or every other day featuring new cards from the new set. So any suggestions, you leave those in the comments. If not, you know, just like the video, subscribe. It always helps. Show your friends. I post it in some Facebook group. I don't care. Don't do that. But yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. I'll get back to you guys in another video, and have a good day.
And they'll stop reproducing as much, right? That's why in first world countries, you know, families will have like 1 kid, 2 kids. But then like in Africa, they'll have, you know, like 30 kids because they're all going to die by the time they're 20.